Good morning. My name is Debbie Jones. I'm the Resource and Technology Manager at the Northern Virginia Resource Center for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Persons, which is a really big long name, but we just say NVRC. It's just a lot easier. And thank you all for having us come here to teach you all about what we do. Today I'm going to talk a bit about what NVRC is, what services and programs we provide to the community, and how you can access those programs and services. And then we'll have time for questions. Okay. So our center was set up. We're a nonprofit organization whose purpose is to empower people with hearing loss, deaf, hard of hearing, late deafened, or deaf-blind, through education, advocacy, and involvement in the community. The center itself was set up by people with hearing loss, by the deaf community, organizations with the hard of hearing community, who came together to create a place where they know they can go to get services or to get information about services, and that they will be able to communicate easily there. Originally, it was set up to identify the needs of the community and what resources are already there, to coordinate developing more services, providing a focus for community organizations, a place, a meeting space, a community center where folks could come and get together, to increase the knowledge about the resources available, and to look at how we can create more resources for the community if they're missing. This is a picture of our office, which is over in Fairfax. If you know where the Fair Oaks Mall is, we're real close to that shopping center. Our primary resources focus on information and referral. So a lot of what we do is answer phone calls and emails about where can I find these things? Where can I get hearing aids? Where can I find an audiologist? How can I get a sign language interpreter for my doctor's appointment? We also go out to the community to do educational programs like this. We have interpreting services. So for folks who use sign language or who use cued speech, and they need to get an interpreter for a meeting or a doctor's appointment, they can contact our office and we can help them arrange that. We go out to the community to do hearing screenings. And I understand my coworker, Bonnie O'Leary, came over here to do some hearing screenings not that long ago. We also work one-on-one with individuals. We meet with families. We go out to the schools, and we also go to businesses to teach them how to communicate well with folks who have hearing loss. Another part of what we do is advocating for folks with hearing loss. We talk with doctors' offices to educate them about accessibility. We contact our local legislature to let them know how we feel about the fact that there is no coverage for hearing aids, which are pretty expensive. So we work to try to improve access for everyone. These are some of the programs that we've done for folks. My coworker Bonnie will go out to do these kinds of presentations. Honey, turn down the TV, because you're watching TV and it's getting so loud because someone has a hearing loss. Talking about hearing aids, what you need to know when you're looking at buying hearing aids. Stop mumbling, I can't hear you. Because we hear that a lot. Oh, I don't have a hearing loss, he just mumbles. Communication's a two-way street, though. We have to remember that. Help, where did my hearing go? And then, of course, hearing loss, hearing aids, and technologies. At our center, we have a big meeting room where we also host workshops, and we ask the community to come and visit us so we can do presentations about educational information, like hearing loss and dementia, and how having one can compound the other. Making your home accessible and safe. If you have a hearing loss, what do you need to have in your home to make sure that you know what's going on around you? Flashing systems so you know when someone's at the door, something to let you know when the fire alarm is going off. For folks who are still working, the EEOC, we bring in other presenters, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission came to do a presentation for us about what laws protect you in the workplace when you have a disability. And also more technology presentations. Our center does have a device demonstration room. So we have a room set up with telephones and signal systems, listening systems for the television that folks can come and try out. We have a phone line so you can sit down and try making calls and see if the amplification is enough for the phone. Listen to the TV to see if that might help you. We don't sell any kinds of equipment, we only demonstrate it. And so it's an opportunity for you to come and try things out. You don't have to worry about buying something. You can make that decision later. So we do have folks make an appointment to come in and visit that center. And I mentioned our meeting room. This is a place where folks can reserve the room to have their meetings. We have deaf and hard of hearing groups that meet there on a monthly basis. We have big screen televisions where we can project. During the presentation, we will have screens where it has captioning. And so it has word for word text, what everybody is saying on the screen, so that you can follow along if you don't hear well. We also have a listening system built into the room. So if your hearing aids have T-coil, you can set that and listen directly to the voice. And then if you know sign language, we bring in sign language interpreters to sign for folks. And these are the faces of NVRC. We're a small organization. There's only 6 of us. Bonnie and I are generally the folks that you will see when we go out in the community because we go out to do the presentations. Bruce works on our web page and makes sure that all the technology in the office works well. Our director is Eileen. Leah is our interpreter services coordinator, so if you need sign language interpreters for appointments. And Dalib is our finance manager and makes sure that our office stays running. Only 2 of us are hearing. Everyone else is hard of hearing or deaf. So there's a lot of different ways of communicating even within our office. So when we go out to do these presentations, a lot of what we cover is kind of basics, the basics of hearing loss. Understanding that hearing loss is on a continuum. Is deaf, hard of hearing, late deafened. Hearing loss can affect anybody at any age. You can be born deaf and grow up with hearing loss. You can lose your hearing later over time. And of course, a lot of people make assumptions about hearing loss. They think that you put on hearing aids and that solves everything because now you can hear. But unfortunately, they're not perfect. They don't bring back our hearing exactly like it was. Many people think that if you have a hearing loss, you can read lips and you'll understand everything. But that's very hard to do. They think if you just turn up the volume, that's enough, and you can understand. But not always. It really depends on the room that you're in and the kind of amplification that you have. And they think, Oh, he has a hearing loss. We can put her over in that office, next to the copy machine. They won't notice the sound. But you feel the vibrations. There's still sound there that many people can hear. So it's not always true. We talk about the degrees of hearing loss: mild, moderate, severe, and profound. With mild hearing loss, you start to have trouble understanding people in crowds, where there's a lot of background noise. It takes more effort to listen. With moderate hearing loss, it gets even worse. People really have to start to speak up for you to understand them. It's easier to understand somebody if you can see their face and see their lips. This is where you start to have people say, "Hold on, let me put on my glasses so I can hear you." It helps. When you start to get to severe hearing loss, it can be difficult to understand even if you make things louder. You're depending a lot more on visual cues to understand what's being said. And you might need to start writing notes or using gestures or sign language to understand. With profound hearing loss, you really can't understand speech even if you turn it up very loud. You're really depending on the visual cues, maybe using sign language, maybe using CART, which is the live captioning, in order to understand things. So you're using your eyes to understand language a lot more when you've got a severe hearing loss. And that can be exhausting. We talk about how folks can get around doing this hearing loss thing, using interpreters, using technologies in order to communicate. If you're using sign language, where can you get interpreters? What do you need to know about working with interpreters? And this is part of what we help the community learn. When you're looking at CART, which is the real-time captioning, where they put word for word up on the screen what is being said. Where do you find somebody that can do that for your meetings or your classes or your doctor's appointment? We help folks get connected with those resources. Listening systems. So what kind of technologies can help you listen better? Are they installed in a big room, or is it something that you can carry with you? When you're dealing with the telephone, maybe you need someone to act as a go-between, particularly if you're using sign language. You need to make a phone call. You need somebody to translate that sign language for you. That's what the relay services do. There are amplified telephones to help you turn up that volume. But sometimes that's not enough. So there are also caption telephones. So just like the captions on the television to help you understand, there are special telephones that can print out what the other person is saying to help you understand better. At home or in the workplace, you can get special signaling devices that will change the volume or change the pitch. Maybe you hear low sounds better. Maybe you need high sounds to get your attention for the telephone or the doorbell. If you're asleep, maybe you need something that will shake the bed when the alarm clock goes off. So when your alarm starts ringing, there's a piece under the pillow or under the mattress that goes brrr, 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 to wake you up in the morning. Or maybe just a flashing light to let you know someone's at the door, to let you know that the baby is crying or that the telephone is ringing. So there are technologies that can help you with that. The Virginia Department for Deaf and Hard of Hearing is the state office for folks with hearing loss in Virginia. They have a technology assistance program. So if you need an amplified telephone or a captioned telephone, or you need a signaling system that will flash the lights or shake the bed, you can apply for that through the state office. It looks at how many people are in the household and the monthly income for the household to see if you qualify for free equipment. Our center is a demonstration site, so that's part of what's in our demonstration room. And we also have the application forms, so we can help you fill those out to apply for the program. We also talk about, there we go. We also talk with folks about the environment and how to listen better. We talk about challenging environments versus easy environments. So a big room like this with a lot of hard surfaces is not the friendliest room for folks with hearing loss because the sound bounces back and forth and can make it more difficult. Now it helps that I have the microphone because it focuses my voice a little better. But when you're looking at what they call friendly environments for listening, it's those smaller rooms with the lower ceiling that has carpet on the floor and good lighting so that you are able to focus on the speech or the listening. When we're dealing with hearing loss, we need to emphasize the visual. Because more and more, when our hearing goes down, we start listening with our eyes. When you're communicating with folks, you want to get their attention first before you start talking. If you're just come in and start talking before they're looking at you, they may have missed the first part of what you said, and then they're very lost. So whether that's waving to get their attention or tapping on the shoulder very gently to make sure that they're looking at you before you talk. If you're dealing with folks who are deaf, you can flash the lights to get their attention. You always want to face the person and make sure that nothing is blocking your mouth. You want to speak slowly and clearly. You don't want to over-exaggerate, and you don't want to yell. Because when you over-exaggerate or yell, the speech looks different on the lips now. If folks don't understand what you said, try using different words. For example, the word ship, S-H-I-P, can be very hard to understand if you have a hearing loss. There's a lot of sounds in that word. So, I went on the cruise ship. Maybe they didn't catch that. Oh, the big boat. Boat is easier to hear than ship. So changing your words can help people understand. And then you also want to take time to pause every now and then. Because when we're depending more and more on our eyes to understand what's being said, it takes our brains a little while to catch up. So when you're speaking with folks, if you just take time to pause and give them just a little bit extra time to process what you're saying, you'll communicate a lot better. And of course, make sure you finish talking before you turn around and walk away. Be aware of your environment as well. If you're standing in front of a window trying to chat with somebody, you've got light behind you, and they really can't see your face very well. For gentlemen, facial hair can be an issue, particularly if the mustache comes down over the lips. When you're focusing on the lips to understand what's being said, that can look a little funny. Doctors' offices and hospitals can be a real challenge because they wear the masks. And so it can be more difficult to understand people. But one thing you never want to do is say, oh, never mind, it's not important. Because it was important, otherwise you wouldn't have said it. A little bit of statistics. Spoken English, only about 30% of English is actually visible on the lips. Everything else happens behind the teeth. That can change for other languages. I believe Spanish, about 80% is actually visible on the lips. So be aware that not everything you say is actually seen. And of course, we've got the big challenge that so many words can look alike on the lips. Fine, vine. Baby, maybe. Coat, goat. The shapes that you see all look alike, but that can really change the meaning of the sentence if you misunderstand one of those words. Of course, when all else fails, write notes. Or use a computer and type back and forth to make sure that you understand what's being said. If you're interested in having presentations, Bonnie is a great person to come out and do presentations for different groups. Her focus tends to be the awareness trainings. How do I deal with hearing loss? My hearing is going, what do I do? She also talks a lot about hearing loss and hearing aids. Her contact information is here. If you're looking at the technology side of things and you want to try the telephones and the signal systems or find out about listening systems, you can contact me at the center. I love making appointments to have folks come in and try out equipment in our demonstration room and see what might work for them. And of course, to schedule sign language interpreting services, you can get in touch with Leah. I'm also the coordinator for the meeting room space at our office. So if you have a group that's dealing with hearing loss that wants to use our meeting room space out in Fairfax, get in touch with us and we can help you set that up. And if you're just looking for general information about NVRC, about where can I find these resources, you can call our main number, which is 703-352-9055, or email us at info@nvrc.org. Okay. So that's kind of my formal presentation. I wanted to open it up to see if you all had any questions or concerns. Okay. The question was about hearing aids, and which of course, unfortunately, tend to be very expensive, and what kind of resources are available to help you get hearing aids. It is a challenge. Some health insurances will cover a hearing aid, and they may cover one hearing aid every 3 years, or they may cover up to a certain dollar amount. So the first place to always check is with your health insurance. Organizations like the Lions Club, many of us know that they help people to get eyeglasses, but they can also help with hearing aids. And then, of course, there are national organizations like the Hear Now program through Starkey Foundation. Our center put together a list of the organizations that provide financial help for helping people to get hearing aids. And if you get in touch with us, we can send you a copy of that list. Yes, if you feel like you're dealing with hearing loss, your first stop is your doctor. Have them check your ears, make sure there's nothing blocking it, because a lot of times we get wax and other things. Maybe there's an ear infection that the doctor can help with. If not, the doctor will send you to an audiologist who will put you in the special booth and have you put on the headset, and they'll do all the tests, and you'll listen to tones and listen to sounds and speech to test your ears to see if you have the hearing loss. If you do, they will give you a prescription for hearing aids. Once you have that prescription, you can either work with your audiologist to get hearing aids, or you can take that prescription elsewhere and shop around. So you don't have to get hearing aids from the audiologist that gave you the test. You can go and do some shopping around to places, to other audiologists, or to places like Costco, which sometimes can give you a better price on hearing aids. Unfortunately, Medicaid and Medicare don't cover anything for hearing aids. Sometimes they will cover the testing, the cost of getting the hearing test, but they don't cover anything towards the cost of the hearing aids. Right. So if you are dealing with hearing loss, but you cannot afford to get the hearing aids, try looking at a personal amplifier. So this is a device that can turn up the volume on the folks that you're talking with. It can help with riding in the car, listening to the TV. Unfortunately, it's not matched exactly to your hearing loss, which is what hearing aids do. They can say, well, I hear fine here, but down here I need it up here. So with a hearing aid, they can program the the amplification to have that stay there and bring this one back up where it needs to be. But with a device like this, which is great, they really help a lot. But that means that both are going up, and which means sometimes sounds can be too loud when you're amplifying everything. So that's something to think about. It is adjustable, yes. Yeah. And so it has a volume control. It has a built-in microphone. It has the volume control, and you can wear a headset or the little earbuds. For this, it's over the counter. And you would want to go to a vendor that specializes in this kind of equipment. And we have a list of those kinds of companies that provide that. Unfortunately, there's no store here in the area where you can walk in and buy one. Unfortunately, we used to have two in the area many years ago, but they both closed. So unfortunately, it's all online or mail order catalog. But they are available, and they can help a lot. And something like this, you can get $100 to $250 compared to hearing aids, which can be over $1,000 each. So it's one more tool. Right. She was. The question was about dementia and hearing loss and how the two can be linked. Yes. A part of dementia is that your brain is not getting enough stimulation. And when we have hearing loss, the brain is getting less and less information. And so you start kind of, not paying attention as well. When you get the hearing aids or other devices to help you hear better, it can actually improve the symptoms of dementia. The hearing aids, a lot depends on your hearing loss. If you have a pretty stable hearing loss, then you probably can keep the same hearing aids for 7 to 10 years. If you have hearing that changes over time and continues to get worse, then you're probably looking at new hearing aids every 5 to 7 years. It is expensive. It is, unfortunately. Yes. And it depends on how severe your hearing loss is and how many bells and whistles you need in the hearing aid in order to stay connected. But it's important to consider it as an option because the hearing aids can be tailored to where your hearing loss is. Maybe if you're just starting to notice your hearing loss, something like this can be helpful. And then if your hearing loss starts to get worse, then you need to start looking at the hearing aid. This, it comes with a clip, actually. And so you can wear it on your belt or in a pocket, or clip it to your coat so that the microphone can pick up the sound around you. A personal amplifier. Actually, you can find them on Amazon, but we also put together a list of companies that carry these, so you can do some shopping around and see who has the better price. I mentioned that the state of Virginia has the Technology Assistance Program to help you get telephones and like doorbell signalers. I also wanted to let you know that Fairfax County has a visual smoke detector program. So if you own your home and you need a visual smoke detector because somebody in the family has the hearing loss, you can apply to Fairfax County to get a special smoke detector that will flash the light to make sure that you know that the smoke detector is going off. If you rent your home or you rent an apartment, it is the landlord's responsibility to provide that for you. And so you just need to write them a letter that says, somebody in my home has a hearing loss and we need a visual smoke detector for safety. And then the landlord should arrange for that to be installed. Each county handles it differently. I would have to check with Arlington County. I know that Alexandria, Fairfax, and Loudoun definitely do. I would have to check with Arlington to get that information. Okay. Well, I brought some fact sheets and information that you're welcome to pick up here. Okay. I do have a short evaluation that I'd like to have you all fill out if you don't mind, because your feedback helps us. Helps us improve our programs. Thank you. Thank you all for having me today. I appreciate it.